Hey guys, so we are now a bit of a way into November here. I'm actually recording this on November 3rd. We have a little bit less than 3 weeks until the beginning of Legends Festival, and typically in November, the weeks leading up to Legends Fest are pretty quiet. I actually am recording this after we just got the info that we're getting a 1% Zenkai Awakening this week, which is going to be for Purple Vegito Blue. So that was pretty surprising. So actually this week we do have quite a bit of content, but I'm going to be doing a Legends Q&A here because I expect the next few weeks to be a little quiet. I'm not sure when this video is going to go up. It might go up today, it might go up tomorrow, but I'll end up probably doing at least 2 parts to this. So I'll do probably like an hour in this video, and then I'll do maybe like an hour in the next video, but I'll just continue from where I left off in the next part. So I'll record this, probably take a break because it's a lot just to sit here and talk constantly for an hour, and then I'll come back and record the second part, and I'll just put them up at some point. So just general Legends Q&A, whatever questions that are related to Legends, I'll answer. So let's just go through this in order and see what people are, kind of interested in knowing here. What am I hoping to see in yellow DB Goku's unique equip? Okay, so there's a few things that I would like to see. When you look at this character, so I can just pull him up real quick. When you look at this character, this is an example of a character that I would actually say is Jack of all trades, master of none, which is not really what you want to be doing in this game. We have seen quite a bit of releases that I would consider to be Jack of all trades, master of all, which you also don't want to see, but at least it makes them really insane. If you're looking at this Goku on the DB team specifically, which I think he's probably going to be positioned to be ran on, he needs sub-count manipulation in some way. And the main reason why I'm saying this is because the 40th anniversary Green Goku and Gohan both do not have sub-count manipulation versus big attacks in their kit. They both have sub-count reduction -1 for DB characters, so they just have general sub-count reduction in their starter abilities, but there's no way to like immediately go back to Kid Goku to eat a Rising Rush or an Ultimate. So that's the one thing this guy must have on his equipment. He must have this. He must have sub-count manipulation. That is the most important thing he could have. The second most important thing he could have is type neutrality. I don't... Does he have it with his gauge filling up? I actually don't recall. Oh, it's after... No. Where's his unique gauge here? No, he does not. Yeah, I don't think this guy doesn't have type neutrality anywhere. And the main reason why it's really important for him to have this is because Red Fusion Zamasu is just pretty much running around right now uncontested. I imagine part 1 of Legends Fest will have some monster blue character. I would hope so, at least. But as it stands right now, Red Fusion Zamasu is pretty uncontested right now. And the DB setup, if you're running the intended team, which should be this Kid Goku plus the 2 40th anniversary characters, Goku and Gohan, there's no blue character, so you really got no strong defensive option versus Red Zamasu. The least they could do is give this guy type neutrality somewhere, at least defensively. I'm not even asking for offensive type neutral, but just defensive type neutral so you could at least defend against him. It would be nice if he had offensive type neutral as well, just because the team also really has no way of kind of punching through that character. And then the last thing I'll mention is unique gauge charge rate. To get his initial unique gauge filled up, it is it takes a lot of investment. And hopefully this guy will have, you'll be incentivized to actually combo with this character post unique equip, but unique gauge charge rate just to get it, because once you have your indestructible activated, he does get charge rate, but it's only after his indestructible gets procced. So he needs to have this, I think, just base. And then obviously they don't have to like remove this or anything, but he should just have this base. It should not be restricted to only when his indestructible is proc. Like it should just be all the time, because it takes way too many cards to get his unique gauge filled up. So those are the 3 things I'd like to see. There are some more things that I could throw in there as well, but I think number 1, if they don't put sub-count manipulation on this guy's unique equipment, I would consider it to be a flop instantaneously. We need this. And then the second thing is type neutral defensively at the very least. And then the third thing that I'd like to see, it's not really mandatory, but I'd like to see unique gauge charge rate prior to his indestructible activating. Do I think an Ultra Super Saiyan 3 Goku with an active gauge that allows him to do the Spirit Bomb alongside an Ultra Kid Buu Platinum equip would be hype enough for Part 3 of Legends Fest? Basically an Ultra/Ultra LF remake of this guy. If they did the first ever Ultra LF and they made it this character, I would say yes, because it would be a brand new kind of mechanic. It would be an Ultra character that's also a legendary finish character. If it was that, I would say yes. If it's just a normal Ultra, I would be hesitant to say yes, because if you just take a look at the lineup of all past major anniversary or Legends Fest level Ultra characters. So if we go here, look, I mean, we could just go through what we've gotten. Ultra Super Gogeta, Ultra Super Vegito, Ultra Gogeta Blue, Ultra Vegito Blue, UI Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and then double Ultras, and Beast Gohan. I don't think this guy is really matching those characters in terms of hype. He could definitely match the Namek characters, but we got two of these at the same time. So it would be tough for this guy to match that level of hype as just a normal Ultra. But if they made him an Ultra LF, I could see it, yeah. When we get our next Gogeta/Vegito, guessing it's this guy, what's a creative idea you'd like to see for his LF animation, like how Vegito Blue got the heat dome? I guess you're asking for Super Gogeta from Z. A creative idea that I'd like to see for his LF animation? I think just like a different type of Soul Punisher. They could do, like, I'm just thinking of Red Gogeta's ultimate animation, where it's not the exact same thing that Gogeta does in the movie. It's kind of like improvised. I think a cool thing they could do is they could turn it into like a Soul Punisher Kamehameha or something like that. That would be pretty cool to see. Just like implementing the character's signature move and then like combining it with another move, I think is cool, because that's kind of what Vegito Blue does, right? Vegito Blue does the Heat Dome attack, but he like combines it with his Kamehameha, like the one-handed thing. They could do the same thing for like a Super Gogeta, I think. Why do I think the devs love to make ideas like Synchro Gauge and Standby only to be used for 2 units and never again? I bet they will never make another yellow Nappa gimmick ever again. I don't know if that's true. I mean, this is a problem. Like, this is something that they've done many times, which, yeah, he's mentioned the Synchro Gauge and the Standby stuff. Why do I think they like to do this? I don't think they like to do it. I just think things like Synchro Gauges take a bit more investment, and it's probably difficult for them to find times where they can make an investment like that, because if they do that, then they're going to have to sacrifice elsewhere. I think if you look at the period leading up to the 6th anniversary, it was really, really quiet. I mean, we had the Saiyan Saga celebration. Remember, Revival Nappa did not have a 1% sparking on his banner. That celebration overall was considered to be pretty lackluster. We had the yellow Saiyan Saga Goku and the blue Yamcha. So I think they had to sacrifice a lot of their development resources moving into that celebration in order to make sure that those Synchro Gauge characters were what they needed to be. So I think that's probably a reason, is they have these, you know, really cool ideas and these cool mechanics, but they take a little bit more time to create, and it's just tough for them to really budget the resources needed to do that, while also making sure that there's no like really dead periods. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I think it is looking like part 1 of this Legends Fest celebration will have a Fusion Warrior. That's what it looks like to me. Based off of the Zenkai for Purple Vegito Blue, I think it's a Fusion Warrior hint. Plus, we also have the Goten free-to-play character, which could also indicate Majin Buu Saga. So I think Super Vegito is a pretty highly likely candidate here. Possible that we could get some kind of Synchro Gauge character. I mean, it could be Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta Synchro Gauge, could be Super Gogeta Synchro Gauge. At some point, they'll bring it back. I just don't know when. Maybe it's now. What would you want from a transforming DKP Zenkai? Probably not even now. Like, I probably wouldn't even want them to do that now. Let me get out of this. If I just do like Demon. Yeah, here we go. Talking about this guy. This is one of my favorite characters ever. This is a Piccolo that transforms from old to young Demon King Piccolo. I mean, they wouldn't do this for a Zenkai Awakening, but my idea has always been for like an Ultra Demon King Piccolo. He would essentially remove Rising Rush from the game. I think what they could do here is, once you've transformed from old to young, this guy just seals both players' Rising Rushes for 180 counts. That's what I do. That's how I'd Zenkai. We had ground battle, supporters, unique gauges. We all complain about the devs not innovating on PvP enough. So what would I personally propose as a battle system change to further add diversity to the gameplay? At this point, I wouldn't really even change the battle system. I think at this point, the battle system it's had a lot of evolution over the past few months since the anniversary. And then even before the anniversary when they made that 2.7 change, which I think I'm still not high on it, but it is what it is at this point. What I would do is I would start to weave in character mechanics that interact with the area system. So you have characters that have specific mechanics that work in the high area. You have characters that have specific mechanics that work with the low area. And I think doing that allows you to actually strategically, like, you know, okay, I'm at the end of the combo, I want to make sure that I'm hitting this guy into the ground so I could set up, you know, my LF Spirit Bomb absorbed Goku, who has much more effectiveness on the ground to be stronger. Like that's I think what they should look at. Maybe a character that has really strong charge attacks, or maybe a character that's like when you land a charge attack, you get this kind of buff, or you get this mechanic or something. Kind of like how they did with Super 17. Let me go back here. So if we just look at Super 17, take a look here. Super 17 has a mechanic that specifically works with quick attacks, right? Following effects occur upon landing a tap attack, tap shot, or a quick attack hit. He seals green and strike cards, or sorry, blue cards and strike cards for 2 counts when he lands a quick attack, which it was very, very powerful back then. And the quick attack function wasn't new back then, but it was relatively new. It wasn't super new because this was right after the 4th anniversary, and this guy came out about a year and a half after that. This is something that should have been implemented. Like, this mechanic probably should have been implemented into the game, like the next release after Quick Attack was implemented. But just taking advantage of the different battle system functions that we already have with character mechanics is what they should look at. So again, characters that benefit by being in different parts of the map, whether it's in the air or on the ground. Characters that maybe, you know, maybe they have like a character that doubles the rate at which they fill up their overdrive gauge when they're overcharging. Characters that maybe, I don't know, if you like, I don't know, if they're worried about passive play still, which I don't know if people are still worried about that. I've kind of found that passive play has kind of died down. I think a lot of that has to do with the overcharge system, because if you're being passive, overly passive, someone could just sit there and overcharge and just farm overdrives the whole time. You could have a character that maybe, like, if you've every 5 timer counts of consistently overcharging or something gives you a Dragon Ball. So you just, you know, if you're somebody who's fighting against somebody who's doing that, you just, you know, you want to be proactive and stop them from farming Dragon Balls. A character that maybe locks you in for 3 counts upon landing a charge attack. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but they need to, I think, build off of the battle system that we currently have. Not with additional battle system changes, but with mechanics that are tied to characters to work with those battle system abilities. Do I ever think pity will ever evolve from what we have now? Talking about both ultra banners and step up banners. I think at some point, yes. That's just the natural progression of how gacha games work. I don't know how soon that would be, though. Right? We just got the ultra pity system, kind of, even though it's not very good. Right? Eventually, it'll probably evolve to being something else, and eventually, I mean, I would have to imagine at some point they're going to change the Ultra banner format, right? I mean, because we could take a look here and go back to Ultra. Right now, we have, so how many Ultras do we have in the game right now? So we have, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, so it's 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. We have 22 summonable Ultra characters. Every time an Ultra character returns, they are on their own original banner that they dropped on. So every time an Ultra comes back, they're on one of their individual 22 banners. So there's 20. If you want one copy of each Ultra, you have to summon on 22 different banners. Eventually, they're going to need to start bringing back older Ultras on newer Ultra banners, because what are we going to have 40 Ultras and they're all going to have their own banners? That would just seem ridiculous. So at some point, they're going to start doing that. And I imagine at that point, they might also revamp the pity system, but for now, it's, I don't know. I think it eventually will happen, but I don't know what the timeline looks like for that. Do I ever think Pity will... I already looked at that one. Who do I think is the best designed character of the year that's also the least toxic? Personally, Saiyan Saga Vegeta is my pick. I like Saiyan Saga Vegeta. The best designed character of the year that's also the least toxic. Best designed character of the year that's least... Okay, let's go through the characters. So start of the year... we have Future Gohan and Trunks, Fusion Zamasu, the 17, 18. This guy, definitely not this guy. Please no. Super Trunks, the Daima characters. Do you guys think Ku? Maybe Ku is the best design character. Demon King, Piccolo, Tambourine, Kid Goku, Jackie Chun, the anniversary units. I'm just refreshing myself on everything that's dropped so far. I like Kefla a lot, actually. Kefla, Frost, Metal Cooler King. This is like the worst design character of the year. Super Saiyan 3 Goku is also really cool. 13. Yeah, it might be Vegeta, actually. The reason why I really like the design of this character is because he's got Disrupt, even though he's not an offensive character. But his Disrupt is tied to you being proactive and filling up his gauge and resetting his gauge by actually attacking. At that point, he resets the gauge and he has the additional 2-card destruction, right? When hit by an enemy arts one time, resets when unique gauge becomes full. So you have to actually reset the unique gauge to obtain the ability to do this again, which I like. I would probably say Vegeta or Kefla, I think. The reason why I'm not saying 13 is because I think the blast ceiling on 13 is pretty egregious. But obviously I really like the design of this character, but there's just a few things in this kit that are pretty obnoxious, so I'm not going to put him in the same degree as I would with Vegeta. Vegeta was very good when he dropped, and I think he'd still be okay. But you know, we're kind of evolving past the anniversary LS at this point. I think UI is still pretty good. Kaioken and Goku can still be decent, and I think again Vegeta could still be decent as well. But when he dropped, I thought he was very good, very very. He synergized really well with the battle system changes, the overdrive, because he had so much key recovery. Is it better to go back to an old account? Newest character is Yellow GB, or start a new one at this point in the game? Yellow GB? You're talking about like... There's 2 yellow GBs. There's the really, really old one, and then there's the Synchro Gauge one. If you're talking about the really, really old one, yeah, just start a new account. If you're talking about the Synchro Gauge one, it's going to depend on what other characters you have on your account, but a year and a half later, it might also just be worth restarting a new account. Yeah, Legends Fest is coming up. Just re-roll for something during Legends Fest Part 1. Typically, with the 2 banners we get during Part 1 of Major Celebrations, you can probably build a team just off of those banners. So it could be a good idea to re-roll on those, yeah. I think many of us have been waiting for my long-awaited promised Gamas Plat video. Yeah, so this has become like a meme or whatever. I think many people who like talk about this don't really understand like the backstory of this. I made the video talking about that. Like it was when I think it was Orange Piccolo got his unique equip. I think it was Orange Piccolo and the Buu Duo got their unique equip, because there was no chance ever that they were going to give the Gamas a unique equip for that release, and they didn't. So that's the story. I'd like to know my thoughts on Shallot and Giblet as both characters and units in battle. Very much hoping for a 1000-day Goku type unit, something to grind campaign for and expand on the idea of light/dark typing, and maybe a kickoff for some more game originals units. Yeah, I think they're cool characters. I just, yeah, if they're gonna do something like that, I think they would probably need to be free. I don't think they could. It would be a really bad look for them to make like a summonable Shallot or a summonable Giblet. And I can tell you that they've not done that for a reason, because that's not what they want to do either. But yeah, I'd completely be down for just like imagine if they did an event exclusive, the first ever event exclusive tag character, a free to play event exclusive tag Giblet and Shallot would be really cool to see. And if they wanted to tie that into bringing back game original summonable characters, I'd be down for that as well. I haven't really talked about game originals characters recently, just because they just haven't done one in 2 years. So I don't know if the idea is scrapped or if they just haven't had a chance to release those characters. But I'm always down for Game Originals characters. It's just I don't know how realistic it is based off the fact that they just haven't given one to us in a while. What's my opinion of the player mindset? And what I mean by that is how every player I talk to about this game, it is always negative. Like the 40th anniversary units, the devs cooked and everyone complained. I actually have seen a lot of positive reception to these characters, right? They dropped the characters. They dropped this 40th anniversary, like collecting the manga celebration. Most of the interactions that I've seen have been pretty positive, actually. When you're on social media, you always have to remember that a lot of the comments that you'll see pop up and just get promoted are mostly negative. And the reason why is because negativity is popular. That's the reason. On social media, it is, it is hip to be negative. It's trendy to be negative. And that's why you'll never see somebody like, well, it's not you'll never see it, but you'll rarely see somebody say like, oh, they did such a good job with this they hit this out of the park, and I'm having so much fun, blah 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 blah. You're gonna see somebody saying like, this is the worst thing they've ever done. Blah, blah, blah. Negativity is always going to prevail over positivity on social media when it comes to just exposure. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why it kind of snowballs that way. On social media, you'll see somebody who says like, okay, like, yeah, this is like a pretty terrible celebration, blah, 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 blah. And I'm all for being critical of the game. I'm critical of the game a lot. But I'm also receptive to when positive things in the game happen. Like, I think this 40th anniversary celebration is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. There's some parts of it that I don't agree with. I think they should have dropped the Kid Goku unique equip with the two characters because he's supposed to work with them. So I think the scheduling was a little bit off there. But I'm also critical of the game. And it's fine to be critical, but when it's just being negative for the sake of being negative, and you don't have any actual feedback or kind of constructive criticism to give to the game, then I don't really see a point in even saying anything. Right? So I that's where you'll see these people on social media who are just being negative because it gets them clicks and gets them likes. And that's the way social media works, and that's the way it's worked for a long time. So that's why you see that, I think. Okay, let me see. This person posted multiple posts here. What do you think about DBL dropping the LF transforming Gogeta Blue for part 1 or tag 4s with synchro gauge into Gogeta 4? Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that this might be what they do now, at least one of these two, with the news that we're getting a Zenkai 4 Gogeta, or Zenkai 4 Vegeta Blue now. With Gogeta Blue, there could be a second movies banner with a new Orange Piccolo, or tag B/Orange Piccolo, and with Synchro Gogeta 4, there could be a Synchro Super Gogeta. But that would make double Gogeta banners, so I don't know. Or they can finally drop Blue Kaioken Goku from the first fight against Hit as an LF. That's more of a part 2 character. I could see it, though. I don't know why we don't have him yet, besides the 1% Sparking one so far. Yeah, I mean, every single time we go into a major celebration, you have a list of like, I think it's like 7 characters that you probably can always at least put on like a menu of viable options. Gogeta. It's going to be Super Gogeta, Gogeta Blue, Super Vegito, Vegito Blue, UI Goku, Beast Gohan, like some kind of Super Saiyan 4 character. They're always going to be the upper echelon of hype characters that you can pick from. So I'm never going to write them off. And again, yeah, now with the information that we're getting Zenkai Vegito Blue, I think the odds of us getting some kind of Fusion Warrior for part 1 are pretty high. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this. Unique equipment is way better than Zenkai system, and people don't want to agree with it just because Zenkai has Gauntlet, which gives CC. Well, it's not. I don't know if that's the case. It's because we've had very underwhelming Zenkais. I mean, that's just the way it's been, right? Zenkai LF. This guy dropped for the 7th anniversary. Revival UI Sign Goku. It was okay. He was used. I would say he was solid. He wasn't really exceptional. You compare this character to the Zenkais that we got during the 6th anniversary. We had Broly, who I'd probably say was like similar to this guy in terms of how good he was. But Red Zamasu and Blue Kid Buu were pretty crazy for Zenkai characters. Then we had Cooler, who I would also say is kind of like whatever. We had Spirit Bomb Goku, who's really good on GT, but outside of GT, he's like locked to being on that team. He's kind of not very good. And then we had Future Gohan, who's like kind of the only one who kind of resembles the old LF Zenkai philosophy of actually being very, very impactful for his teams. So you compare that to some of the more recent unique equips we've gotten, the Gamas, the Tag 4s, now the Red Zamasu equip. It just feels like the unique equips have been a lot more impactful. And I think that's not for no reason. I think it's just because... Actually, the next comment is addressing this too, so I'll read this real quick. Do you think unique equips have effectively replaced Zenkais as a means of reviving older characters? Recently, we just got an amazing Zenkai Future Gohan, but others weren't treated as graciously, whereas most uniques have made most characters relevant for the time being. I wouldn't say replaced, but I think the reason why they've decided to make these unique equips so effective is because it takes resource investment. Zenkais now that they've removed... Because think about it. They removed the soul boosting system from the game. So you no longer have to be grinding Zenkai souls. You no longer have to be, paying money to someone on the Zenkai banner unless you want to go, and speed up the process like I do for my videos because I have to do it. But people aren't spending money on Zenkais. People aren't spending resources on Zenkais. They're just waiting it out, getting the Zenkai power for free from the missions, and they don't need to soul boost them anymore because the soul boost system was removed. Whereas with equips, you have to grind the first slot. You have to, spend thousands sometimes of slot removers. Mostly it's hundreds of slot removers to re-roll slots. If you want a guaranteed upgrade slots, it costs more slot removers. It costs CC. So I think now that there's basically no investment needed to create a Zenkai character, as opposed to getting like at least a decent roll on a unique equip, the investment should reward you with a bigger payoff, I think is what their mindset is. So I think that's why they've increase the effectiveness of unique equips, and it seems like they're kind of shifting the unique equips to being the main way that characters become stronger as opposed to Zenkais. But I think, and I pointed this out many times, because if you go back and I think it was a video I dropped, it was it September? Maybe it was like early September. I said the two biggest problems in the game right now are LF characters not being strong enough, new LF characters not being strong enough, and LF Zenkais not being strong enough. And I think they must have got the message, because then after that we got 13 Purple Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Zenkai Future Gohan. So they are course correcting on that, which I think is good, but that's why I think so. It just all comes down to resource investment from the player. Do I think with them mentioning wanting to do more game originals that the tag has a chance to ever be relevant, or do I think or do I see the more likely outcome as the tag returning to what's essentially just collection units, Z2 Metal Shop, Z Power, 1000-day login rewards? It's impossible for me to say. I would hope that eventually we're going to get another game originals character. I think out of everything they could do in this game, game originals characters probably have the most potential. And the main reason why is because we've pretty much exhausted most things from the original series. We have basically everything, and when I say everything, I don't mean actually everything. I mean like the important hype moments that draw people in. You know, we don't have things like General Blue is not in the game. Like Sparking Tau, Sparking Monster Zarbon is not, like those kinds of characters we don't have in the game. But when it comes to saga-defining moments, when it comes to very exciting characters, we basically have it all covered. With Game Originals characters, there's an almost unlimited amount of characters they could drop for the first time. And if you don't know how these games work, basically how it works is every single time they drop a character for the first time, they always perform the best. That's just the way it works. So they have a lot of those they can use for Game Originals characters because they've never dropped them before, you know? And I'm not talking about just combinations, right? Because we got the Goku and Bardock character. They can do they could do Frieza and Cooler. They could do Z Broly and Super Broly. They could do, I've seen a popular one, people think like, oh, baby Vegeta and Goku Black would be interesting. That'd be cool. That'd be a cool one. So they could do those combination characters, but they could also just do like kind of transformations for characters that never had those transformations. We could do Super Saiyan God Vegito. We could do Super Saiyan God Gogeta. We could do Super Saiyan 3 Z Vegeta, right? Because he doesn't actually have Super Saiyan 3 outside of Daima for Z. We could do sort of like jumping into Sparking Zero land. What if Vegeta went Super Saiyan on Namek? What if Vegeta went Super Saiyan 2 against Cell? You know, there's a million possibilities here that they could sort of take the path of what if this happened in the series and just release characters like that. So there's a lot of uncharted territory with that, and there's a lot they can, I think, get out of that. But I don't know what the logistics are. I don't know if there's blocking going on from certain companies that maybe don't appreciate or don't want to have anything to do with Dragon Ball. It just seems really weird that they wouldn't want, you know, more eyes on the series. But I'm not sure what the reasoning is for them to not be doing more Game Originals characters, but it has a lot of potential and they just haven't tapped into it. I want to actually get into Legends. My newest unit is Ultra UI. Where should I start? Do I just do all the story and summon for characters I like? What's the play for a free-to-play player? I would say right now, you probably just want to be saving your CC for Legends Fest. And assuming that you can actually build a team from the Part 1 characters and the Part 1 banners, you probably want to just save everything for that and just go all in on Part 1. And the reason why I say this is because they've had a trend recently where part one banners of major celebrations have been designed to work well with each other, right? We have the 7th anniversary. We had part 1 where it was Universe Reps. Unfortunately, Vegeta ended up not being very great. I mean, he was okay when he dropped, but you could build a Universe Reps team out of that part 1 lineup. We had Legends Fest 2024 where you had Vegito Blue and Rose, who worked well in the Future team together, even though, again, Rose could have been better. We had the 6th anniversary where you had the 2 Synchro Gauge fusion characters, Super Vegito and Gogeta Blue, who worked well with each other, and you could build a team from those banners because the other characters were decent as well. So I would just wait for part 1 of Legends Fest, and if there is a scenario where you can just build a team from summoning across both banners that drop, then that's what I would say to do. Why do I complain about equipment space when I'm generally never using over half of the equips you have on your account? Most of them have either been power crept by other equips or have awakened versions, because it's part of the collection. Part of the aspect of like a major part of this game is collection. You think how is this any different from if there was, you know, actual box space in the game for characters, and eventually you just ran out of box space and you had to like delete, I don't know, like Hero Piccolo from your account, right? So if we do this, scroll all the way down, what if you eventually ran out of box space and like, okay, I have to now delete Hero Goldo from my account because I'm being artificially limited in how many characters I can hold? How is that any different from the equipment issue? Right? They create equips every single, not every single week. There are certain weeks where you have exceptions where they don't drop new equips, but this game consistently drops. I mean, per month, how many new equips come out? Like, I don't know, 10 to 12 new equips come out per month, maybe more. If they're going to be consistently dropping that much equipment, they need to be allowing us to carry more equipment eventually. I mean, that's just the natural progression of how a system like that works. So yes, there's, you know, it's true that I don't use every single equip on my account, but why should I be forced to sell all of my equipment that I don't use because they refuse to drop more equipment space, even though they come out with, you know, 10 to 12 equips per month? That doesn't really make sense to me. Do I think it's possible we actually see an LF Ultra this festival, or do I think they'll save it for anniversary? I think not yet. Is it possible? Yes. It's always going to be possible. But there's still more characters they can do for Ultras to where I don't think it's going to happen just yet. I think if they had dropped, instead of the Namek Ultras for 7th anniversary, if they had done, and I guess this would have also meant that they did something else for part 1, if they did Ultra Master DB Goku for the 7th anniversary, I would be on the fence. I'd be saying, okay, you know, we've gotten like most of these characters. The only ones that we haven't gotten for Ultras that are like really, really hype are like Dragon Ball Super Broly, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, who's very new. But we still have UI Goku, GT Super Saiyan 4 Goku, DBS Broly, and now Daima Goku. And now they've also kind of opened up the path to doing multiple Ultras. I wouldn't really call, Full Power Frieza a super mega, super Vegeta level character in terms of hype. He's a popular character, obviously, and so is Namek Goku, but they're not on that level. So they could end up dropping, two, I would say, high tier hype characters, but not mega godly hype tier characters as a dual Ultra setup for major celebrations now. So I'm probably going to say not yet for Ultra LFs. I still think it'll eventually happen, but I think we have a few more to go until we see that. Is the Awakened equipment affected by Bonanza? During this Ultra Bonanza, I've used more than 400,000 Rush Medals on a single Awakened equipment. I didn't get any yellow or red slot one. Unbelievable. Yeah, it is affected. So I've said this multiple times. The Equipment Awakening system is the worst system in the game. And then on top of that, I would just say the equipment system in the game, period, is a scam. You probably don't need to go for yellow or red slot ones on anything. Just get an S of the equips that you're going to use, and an S is good enough. That's what I'd say. Do I think they will ever add new mode in the game like raids and co-op? It feels forever since they ever touched those types of things. Probably eventually, yeah. I mean, we got full power battle, which, I mean, yeah. I said this before. I think PvE has taken a backseat to PvP because they recognize that PvP is kind of what drives the game. Somebody who plays PvE, here's the reason. Somebody who plays PvE is going to get one copy of a character and then they're not going to go for another copy, right? Whereas somebody who plays PvP is way, way, way more incentivized to summon for dupes on characters and get more stars on characters than somebody who plays PvE. So they're putting more effort into PvP because there's more of an incentive for people who are centered around and play PvP mostly and focused on PvP to invest more into the game. Will giant characters ever be playable somehow, excluding supporters? I feel like someday it will be implemented in the game somehow. I want to be optimistic. They have tried for 7 years. I mean, I don't know if they've actually. I mean, I assume that they've tried to implement them for 7 years, and they have not found a way to do it yet. Will they ever be playable somehow? I think supporters is the way they do it, but I don't know if we'll ever see a controllable giant character. Because even if we do get a giant character in the game, I think it'll be like a QTE situation. Right? The character will spawn in and it'll be like tap the screen at this moment for the giant character to do something. It wouldn't actually be like you moving the character around the screen, I don't think. I don't want to say it'll never happen because I never like to say never, but I would say that the chances at this point are pretty low, mostly because it's something that they haven't been able to do in 7 years. Do I think them adding a new mechanic will even save the game? I'm not saying the game can't come back, but what kind of mechanic do I think can bring this game to the ones impossible to imagine? I don't know what this means. To the ones impossible to imagine peak. I don't know what you mean by save the game. The game, I mean, I feel like Legends Fest is going to be fine. Okay. We've been down this path before. How many years in a row have people said, okay, guys, this is the phrase people use. All right, guys, Legends Fest is make or break. How many times have you heard that? I mean, yeah, I would say that the past 2 months haven't been great. Right? I think October was good, actually. I think the end of September was good. So I think you know, we're looking pretty good. We've been looking pretty good for the past 2 weeks here. But I am not looking at them to change anything drastic with the battle system because that was what the 7th anniversary was for. I want to see innovation with characters, right? That's not really something we saw very much with the 7th anniversary, right? The part 1 and 2 characters, the LF characters, really didn't have anything new or original about them. It really was, you know, we had the Ultras who dropped. The KO Guard is a new mechanic. We had the new type of active gauge with Frieza that were kind of new. But we didn't have like a synchro gauge level skill, for those characters. So stuff like that is what I want to see, right? We got the first ever active gauge with Beast Gohan last year during Fest. So just like new things that make the game feel different and hopefully interact with the battle system in some way, interact with the dynamic area system, interact with overcharging, interact with charge attacks, like things that actually augment those mechanics are what I want to see. I know everybody talks about CC and stuff. My biggest concern is them blocking more and more CC in the exchange shops. As an example, last adventures and this one, the CC are locked in those shops. Why do I think they keep doing that? So people don't save. Yeah, that's the reason. There's a reason that the CC cap exists, right? They don't want people just simply hoarding CC for major celebrations. They want you to actively be spending your CC. And they don't want you to, they don't want you to come into Legends Fest with, 80,000 CC, unless you bought 80,000 CC, right? So that's why they do it like this. Out of all the characters in the current meta, which 3 units, in my opinion, will age the best? This is assuming nobody gets hard countered in Fest. Which of 3 units, in my opinion, will age the best? Okay. Namek Goku 1. I'd probably put Zamasu at 2. And I guess 13? I guess, yeah. I think Frieza will age well. I think Vegeta should age well. Remember, Vegeta's still on featured boost right now, which is, 2.5 months later, he's still on it. Frieza will age well. I think I'd give the top 3 to Goku, Zamasu, and 13. I think, if I had to rank it. But I think Frieza's up there too. Huh? Interesting name. Why haven't they released LF Ultra Omega Alpha Pilaf? I don't know. You should pitch it to them. You should submit a support ticket to them and just say you should release this character. Do you think that both Anniversary and Festival will have ×3 drops from now on? No, I don't. It would be nice if they did. And this is not me saying I hope they don't have it, because do you guys realize how much that helps me? Hell yeah, I want that. I don't think so. I don't remember the wording they used when they, because I think it was Tani who was like, oh, we're having a very special 3 times rates. Is something you haven't seen in a long time, or 3 times Z power. Did he say like don't expect this every time or something? I would probably say not to expect it again. And it's better probably just to keep expectations low, so that if it's not there, then you'll not be super disappointed, and if it is there, you'll be surprised. That's the way I would word it. But I would not expect it. What do I think about free-to-play units, and how do you think the devs can make them good enough to play in PvP? Yeah, I think free-to-play units are not good enough. I think now at this point that we've gotten past the issue of new LF characters not being good enough, hopefully that stays consistent, and the issue of hopefully LF Zenkai's now being good enough with Future Gohan, hopefully they just, again, keep that trajectory. I think this is kind of like on the docket for one of the next big problems with the game, is free-to-play units just are not impactful whatsoever at all. And it's not something that's really been it wasn't like back in the day every single free-to-play unit was like a dominant character. We had a lot of good free-to-play characters in the past. Like if we just go back to the event exclusive tag, hopefully I can find this here. Event exclusive. Back in the early days of the game, we had some really good free-to-play characters. This Goku, okay, this guy, when he got his Zenkai Awakening, the grind was pretty bad. I remember grinding for this guy. It was me and Ryuden just spamming co-op for like a full day, just to get this guy fully Zenkai Awakened and Soul Boosted. This guy was considered the best unit in the game when he dropped and got his Zenkai Awakening. Free-to-play character, best unit in the game. Probably will never happen again. Probably. Red Vegeta was very good. He had a 10 count, no switching mechanic. Really, really good. Red Broly was fine. This Trunks was pretty solid. Yellow Piccolo was a good support. This Red Ginyu was okay. Purple Buhan was okay. What else do we got here? Any standout free characters? And then we start getting to like sort of modern ones. This Yellow Trunks was really good. This is, would we really call this guy a modern free character? He's pretty old now, but he was really, really good when he dropped. What else? Metal Cooler was okay. This Vegeta was pretty good. He was a 4th anniversary character. Anything else? 18 was good. This is a 6th anniversary character. Yeah, this is, I would say, is a modern free-to-play character. He was, or she was pretty good, for sure. Anything else that stands out? Red Vegeta was all right. And then, of course, we have the Ultras. This Vegeta and Omega. Goku was okay, but I think Vegeta was better and Omega was better, for sure. Omega was actually pretty solid when he dropped, but these are Ultras. And I don't want to say they're probably never going to do a free-to-play Ultra again, but I'd be pretty surprised if they did that again. Tao was pretty good, Cyborg Tao. This is probably the most recent good free-to-play character, Cyborg Tao. How can they make them good enough? I think step one is you have to recognize that you're probably not going to have a free-to-play character that's going to be like a good damage dealer. It's too tough. It's too hard to be a good damage dealer and be free-to-play. I think the design that this guy has is probably what they have to do to have a free-to-play character be like really, really good at this point in the game. What this guy did is this guy was essentially just a battery for Majin Vegeta. This guy had specific interactions with Vegeta Clan characters. He force drew green cards. I do like special arts. He draws a special arts with his main ability. Draws a special arts when he changes cover twice. So yeah, this guy was really designed to work pretty well with Majin Vegeta. So I think designing free-to-play characters to work well with really good meta characters is what they have to do. So for example, we go back to the top of the screen here. A free-to-play character that like is designed to work very well with Fusion Zamasu. That would be a way that they would design a good free-to-play character to actually be usable. Do I think we'll get Game Originals units again? I talked about this already. I hope so, but my expectations are not high. If yes, who could we see this festival? My go-to answer is always Z Broly and Super Broly as a tag character. That's what I want to see. And obviously Cooler and Frieza, but I don't know if they would go back to the Frieza well already. On the inevitable time he Zenkais, do I think they will downplay him or beef him up? Do we think he's even going to get a Zenkai, this guy? I don't think, like, I don't even think this would be that bad, to be honest, as a Zenkai right now. The way they make this guy oppressive is if they do something like this. Where's first form Frieza? Oops. Let me do buff. Doesn't he cancel? Wait, what? Didn't he cancel buff effects on cover change? Oh, I have to click the Zenkai button. My bad. Buff. Here we go. The following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield. Cancels enemies' buff effects. Activates twice. This is what they would need to attach to this guy to make him good, because this could remove opponent cover null when he cover changes. And if he does that, he can special cover change twice, no matter what, even if the opponent has cover null. Because every single character, basically at all times, have just 100% uptime on cover null when they're comboing. So this guy having a universal cover change at this point, I don't really think is too bad. So if he does Zenkai Awaken, I think they'll probably make him good. I would hope. I don't think this guy's cover change is that bad now. Do I think the lack of communication interaction from the devs is a reason why we have such a hit or miss situation? I really thought that what Dokkan did with the Community Fest and having real conversations with the top creators was healthy for the game. I don't know. I mean, Dokkan did with the Community Fest, having real conversations with top creators was healthy for the game. I mean, I think they should do this. Again, I'm not sure what kind of restrictions they have. But yeah, I mean, I think more communication is never really a bad thing, is what I would say. So if you're asking, do I think that they should be having more open communication? My answer would be yes. So, as much as I like your predictions for Legends Fest, I thought you said GT Super Saiyan 4 Goku wouldn't be hype enough as a standalone Ultra. Well, I didn't think he'd be hype enough as a standalone Ultra for Anniversary. And the reason why I said that is because they just did Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta the prior year. So if they follow that up the very next anniversary with essentially just a less hyped version of the same character, then I think it wouldn't be good enough. But for Legends Fest, I can see it. That's the difference. There is a slight difference between Anniversary and Legends Fest, especially when you're coming off of the prior year's character being Gogeta, right? So, when do I think Ultra LFs will be introduced? I'm personally predicting an Ultra LF for this upcoming festival because for me, we have went through all the hypest options, and I just think dropping an Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Goku is a backward step. It depends on how they do him. If they give him cool abilities, if his art looks really cool, if his animations are really good, I think they could pull it off. It also depends on what they do for the first two parts, right? They can't do Saiyan Saga, okay? They can't do Saiyan Saga and then, like, you know, DB and then drop Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Like, they have to actually drop Heat for the first two parts and then do Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Goku, so. And in terms of when I think Ultra LFs will happen, I'm leaning towards next festival. So Festival 2026 is probably what I would say, but I don't know yet. Will ever make a remake video like my most hated / loved characters? Do I think there are any new entries? Yes, there are. And I probably will do new versions of these. I think I did those in January because January is always really dead, and so is February. I might do that again in January. I might make an updated one. We'll see. I think we'll get a game original character reveal along with the final stage of the championship. Maybe. Again, my expectations are not super high for game originals characters. It's just, historically speaking, they did one, and then they never did another one. So I don't know. We'll see. There's no pattern for it, right? Do I believe the slight chance of a Synchro Gauge VB and a new mechanic that involves using Rising Rush as a buff, like a transformation instead of the Rush? This is an idea that I had for an Ultra Demon King Piccolo. My original idea, actually, I think this was even before Ultras were even a thing in the game. It was just for an LF Demon King Piccolo. Was if you have all 7 Dragon Balls, instead of using a Rising Rush, you could transform into young Demon King Piccolo, and both players no longer have access to Dragon Balls for the rest of the match. That was my idea for a Demon King Piccolo character. Clearly, they did not want to do that, but I don't think we get a Synchro Gauge VB. This is obviously somebody posted this before. We saw that they were getting a Zenkai for VB, so probably not going to happen. But I'd be down for something like this. Yeah, it would depend on what the buff would look like. But yeah, if this is a different mechanic, seems interesting to me, I'd be down for it. Yeah. I think we could probably do these 4. And then I'll cut, and then we'll do a part 2. And we'll see, because I'm 52 minutes in. I want to be over an hour here. Every time a new Ultra comes out, they can be ran on any team since they are really powerful to the point where people just run an only Ultra team on PvP. How would I fix the issue? Nerf Ultras, buff LFs, get rid of the leader slot. Congrats on the well done work. Thank you. The way I would change this, as I've mentioned this before, is just go back to like the top screen here. Oops, that's the wrong one. Take a look at Zamasu, for example. So Zamasu, on his starter ability, gets 300% damage. And then he's also stacking damage every time he uses a card. So Zamasu, with support from Android 13, is, you know, on average, what does his damage inflicted look like? It's like 390% damage, 410% damage, kind of like probably hovering around those numbers in terms of his total damage inflicted, just from his unique abilities plus support. This is the Ultra ability, 30% damage. Do you really think this incentivizes people to you know, get the full Ultra ability up? Yeah, it's nice to have 30% more damage. It's nice to have 30% more key recovery. But back in the day, when we had, you know, characters like Super Gogeta who entered the battlefield with 100% damage inflicted, back then 30% damage really mattered because it was a big percentage of your overall damage. But because the Ultra abilities have not scaled with the rest of the kit on the character, you have less of an incentive to get the full Ultra ability up. So that's why I think a lot of times you'll see people running just triple Ultra teams where characters don't necessarily have their Ultra abilities even active at all. So I think step 1 to kind of curbing the triple Ultra setups is make it a bigger priority to get Ultra abilities active. So for example, instead of the starter ability being 300% damage, make it 200% damage and move 100% of the damage to the ultra ability. So instead of 30% damage here, it's 130% damage, or it's 130% damage total. And I guess what would that mean? You get what would that be? Like 25% damage or whatever it is to per future battle member, whatever the math ends up being. So that, I think, is a way they could do it. They just need to make the ultra ability more of a priority for people to actually build their team around the character. Who's my favorite Dragon Ball Legends release ever? I mean, I did actually do a video on this. My favorite release is the Dual Ultras from 7th Anniversary. It's just, they're never going to top the reveal. The fact that they actually did Dual Ultras for the first time, I thought everything was well done, besides the fact that they were meant to be ran together. That's the one thing they messed up, is you can't do 2 Ultras at the same time and have them be ran together, because it's going to be way too overbearing. And that's what we saw with these characters. So if they had just made this guy as like an LOE powerful opponent character on those teams, and then Namek Goku was like, you know, your typical Saiyan Sun family character, and then he was ran on those teams, and you had this kind of like clash between Saiyan Sun family teams and powerful opponent Lineage of Evil teams, that would have been a really interesting way to kind of complete the 7th Anniversary meta. But, you know, running these guys together, there was nothing that really even came close to this. So that's where they messed up. But in terms of the release of the characters and the aesthetics of the characters and everything like that, this is my favorite release ever. These two guys together. Why did Legends choose not to implement LBR in the World Tournament selection? They do, but it's only from the 3rd stage. So the 3rd stage, they do have LBR rules. So everybody has 14-star characters and things like that. I don't know why they only chose to have it in the 3rd stage. I don't want to go into detail about the way that they're running the 3rd stage, but overall, I would say that this tournament has been run very badly. I don't know if I've ever seen a worse managed competitive tournament for any game ever. This might be the single worst ran tournament I've ever seen ever for any game. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. I'm not going to get into it, but it's just know that it is very bad. They put me in the NA server for the 3rd stage. Somebody who lives in Japan, somebody who played both stage 1 and stage 2 against Japanese players got put in the NA server. That's all I got to say. At what point would I be happy with Fest? The concept Goku you had where he changes whether you're fighting up or down. Is it just another synchro character? How would I determine Fest is successful and what it should be? So the concept that I did, my main goal with what I laid out for that concept is, if we leave part 3 of Festival with as many teams and characters as competitively viable as possible, I will be happy. The nightmare scenario. Okay, here's the nightmare scenario. 2023 Legends Fest, part 1. Really good meta. Red Beast Gohan, Blue Kaioken Goku Evolution Blue Vegeta drop. They fall off later, but initially they're pretty good, and I think the meta is pretty good. Part 1 of Legends Fest 2023, meta is really good. A lot of viable teams, a lot of viable characters. I think people are generally happy with the picks, and it's pretty good. I think everybody's pretty excited. Part 2 happens, we get our first ever Game Originals character. It is only 1 banner at the time, and back then that was the norm. It usually was only 1 banner. I guess Anniversary had 2, but I think for whatever reason they decided that for the Game Originals character they only wanted to do 1 banner. Unfortunately, the banner format was really bad for the Goku and Bardock unit. Not sure really how they came to the conclusion to kind of make that the banner format, but it is what it is. The meta was still decent. I think Goku and Bardock probably hurt the meta a little bit more than helped it, just because they really, really, really made like the Goku the Sun Family / Saiyan teams a little bit better than like the pure hybrid teams or the Universe Rep teams. It really wasn't until we got to the 3rd part, Ultra UI Goku dropping, everything just came crashing down. And this is not really a one-off scenario. We've seen this happen many, many times, right? We can just go through the list here. Super Gogeta, best unit in the game. I think he hurt the meta more than helped it. I'm talking about major celebration ultra characters here. Super Vegito actually probably wasn't very bad for the game, but you have to admit that when Super Vegito dropped, the most common team you ran into was just UI Goku, Dragon Fist Goku, and Super Vegito. So it was just the anniversary characters. Gogeta Blue, same thing. Gogeta Blue dropped. The only team you saw was Gogeta Blue, Blue Beast Gohan, and then Red Pan. Vegito Blue dropped. The only team you saw was Vegito Blue, Zenkai Sword of Hope Trunks, and Goku and Frieza. This UI Goku drops. The only thing you see is UI Goku, Pikkon / Gogeta, and Goku and Bardock. And that, I think, is the second worst meta this game has ever seen. And I think there's a pretty big gap between second and third. This was my least favorite meta, besides one that we won't name. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta actually, it wasn't as bad. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, clearly you would want to run him on GT or Fusion Warriors. I mean, you mostly saw this guy ran on those teams, but there was a little bit of diversity back then. Beast Gohan drops. I think, again, similar to how Gogeta was, where Beast Gohan, you saw him, you know, most fights, but it wasn't like he was solely dominating everything. You still had characters like Majin Vegeta running around. Vegito Blue was really good still. Daima Goku was good, the part 2 characters. So, yeah, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. But Beast Gohan was solid. And then 7th anniversary, you had these guys who were essentially just dominating the game for months. So the nightmare scenario is exactly what happened in the 2023 Legends Fest, where part 1 is really good, part 2 is pretty good, and then you just, if you're gonna like graph this out, part 2 to part 3, there is like a 90-degree angle, just nosedive down in terms of viable characters and viable teams. That is the nightmare scenario. I want to leave, and this is why I specify I want to leave Legends Fest. Not just, oh, part 1 is good. Oh, okay, you know, a lot of viable teams in part 2. Okay. I want to leave part 3 of Legends Fest with a sea, an ocean of viable characters and teams. That is the objective. So if they're able to do that, then I would be happy. And I would consider that Legends Fest to be a success. That is what I'm hoping for. All right, we have breached an hour in this video. I'm going to go ahead and cut here. This will be part 1 to the Q&A. And I'll go ahead and probably take a break. And I'll come back in, you know, like 30 minutes or so. And I will go ahead and record part 2. I'll pick up right where we left off. And we'll go ahead and do part 2. But let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I will see you in the next one.